So by now you've gathered, I'm sure by reading about the ninth chords, you just keep piling up with the minor shifted and the major shifted ninths. The difference between an add nine and a ninth chord, though, is the inclusion of the seventh. So when we had D and we went to D7, now if you wanted to add the E in there, you'd have to have, if you wanted it as a D9 chord, you'd have to retain the seventh note, that's C. So this then means you've got to rearrange things a lot. But the easiest way to look at it is that this is a standard 9 chord here. That's on my A string and the fifth. That's on the D string. Notice it's one fret down, and then I put a bar across like this. Now, why does this come up? Let's go back to our C chord. And then we said that a C7, you put the B flat in. Remember, C, D, E, F, G is your 5. Up 3 frets is B flat. So that's your C7. Now, the ninth of a C would be a D, which would be this D down here. So now you got C, E, B flat, D. So you got C, E, and the G down here, the B flat from the G string, and the D on the B string. So you hold down these 3 frets with your third finger, your G, B, and E string. This is over 1 fret on the D string, and this comes up over the top of everything and lands here on the A string. And it's named after this note. C, over 1 fret down, and then the bar underneath. And then of course if you've got your major ninth, or your major ninth, it would go up like that. That's a little bit more difficult to rearrange. Now let's talk about the difference between an add 9 and just the C9. And again, the difference is you don't have the 7th included. So rather than going C and then the 7th and then you add in the D, you have your C down here, you just have a C chord and put down the D like that. C, G, D. So that's an add 9 as opposed to a C9. And that's completely the difference. Now the nice thing about these D9 chords, they're kind of like 5 chords in the sense that you have your root, down a string, except in this case you go flat, and then you put your bar underneath. So that would be E to D to C to D. And again, it's 5 notes involved in this thing. You got your original triad, your 7th note, and then your 9th. So you now have instead of a triad or a quadrad, you got a pentrad. Pent for 5. In case, unless you do the add 9, in which case it's your triad, and then add the 9, then you're back to a quadrad. I know it's confusing, but it's easier actually to learn how all of these chords are formed than to take out a book that's got 2,000 chords and try to memorize them. Because, in this case, you go get your triad for C. Add your 7th, and then you need your 9th. Join your G down there to complete your triad. Just, apply the thing. Whenever somebody sits there and calls out an name, you go, let's see, there's my root, there's my 5, there's my middle 3rd, then do I have my 7th or 9th? And you just kind of build the chord on the fly. It makes it a lot more efficient. It's easy to remember just these little shifts. And the whole thing kind of comes down to that minor shifting and major shifting, except in the case of, the suspended chords. But, they're suspended. They do their own thing.